Sorry?
Well, thank you very much, Tsepiso, and you, Francis. Indeed, we are here in Krugersdorp today speaking to the leader of the ATM, African Transformation Movement. Of course, it's a party that is represented in Parliament. They have 2 members. And of course, they have, I think, 1 member in KZN in the legislature and another in the Eastern Cape. So this is the party that was formed in 2018 but decided to contest the national elections. And of course, it's 2021 this time around. They are going for the local government elections. With me is the leader of the party, Vuyolwethu Zungula, who would basically unpack some of the manifesto issues they spoke about, and of course the essence of the party and the general state of politics. Welcome to the SABC and Full View, Mr. Zungula.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for having us.
Well, the first question is, you have presented your manifesto, and I just want to know, why should South Africans vote for ATM and not ACDP?
The ATM in its manifesto is providing solutions for all of the problems that we have in our country, from unemployment, poverty, crime, etc., etc. Now, your question about why ATM and not ACDP. ACDP is a purely a party that says it is representing a particular sector of our society, whereas we as the ATM are a faith-based organization whereby we allow and we accept and we welcome each and every person, irregardless whether they whatever belief system they have. And most importantly, our main focus as the ATM, as a faith-based organization, it is a values-driven organization, because we believe that in our country, the biggest problem, it is a value system. Because if the leadership, for example, had a proper value system, you would not see corruption as high as it is currently. You would not see maladministration and having leaders who are selfish. Similarly, when it comes to the general society, you would not see the high levels of crime, gender-based violence, destruction of property that is being done by the actual citizens. So what we believe in as the ATM is that there needs to be a value system transformation in terms of the entire society, so that the character of the country, we can be peaceful, we could be driven by Ubuntu, we could have transformed leaders, we could have servant leadership, and most importantly, you could have accountable leaders who account to societies.
What are the weaknesses that you have picked up in local government that needs to be attended to as a matter of urgency? The
biggest problem that we have in local government is the municipalities are not functioning properly. That is why you are going to have quite a number of municipalities that are under administration, quite a number of municipalities that they change leaders maybe every 3 or 6 months because there's lack of stability. So what we're offering as the ATM is saying we need to build capable and corrupt-free developmental municipalities that will be able to service the needs of the communities, because you could have all of the policies, you could have all of the infrastructure, but if the driver, meaning the municipality itself, it is not stable, there is lack of capabilities, you could never be able to achieve what you want to set out, what has been set out in the manifesto.
You know, sitting here listening to you say all that you've just said now, fortunately I have had the opportunity of speaking to your other colleagues, other political parties. They speak more or less the same as what you're telling me. How will you do it differently? What is a different aspect you'll throw in to running the municipality?
The most important aspect that ATM offers as a difference, the first one is that ATM is funded by its members. One thing that is prevalent in our municipalities is that sometimes there are mafias, there are cabals that are actually, they are not in government, they are not in the municipalities, they are not the mayors, they are not the officials, but they control the officials because they funded the political parties. So you find that with that system that we have, whereby political parties are beholden on these people, on these companies, when it comes to running the municipalities, it proves to be a problem. Whereas for us as the ATM, we're not beholden on anyone. When ATM is elected in a municipality, rest assured the citizens can trust the ATM to be the leader of those municipalities and not have someone behind the scenes calling the shots or influencing the program of action of the municipalities.
Are you saying the reason why municipalities fail in some instances because they are being funded elsewhere or because their leaders are being funded by certain companies?
It is the political parties, the leadership, that have a corrupt relationship with the companies or private individuals who have a significant influence in the operations of these municipalities. Now, that is why you find that even if, for example, you have a municipality whereby the ruling party in that municipality was funded, for example, by someone who owns a construction company, the projects that will be done, they have to one way or the other benefit the person who funded these parties. So that creates a very deep problem, because it means the municipalities will never be able to listen to the needs of the people. Rather, they need to conduct their operations to pay back the investment of these companies.
But are all municipalities being funded in the way in which you've described them?
The parties, it is the parties that are funded by these private companies, private interests, and whenever those parties are now in power, they need to pay back the investment of these private companies. Look at a national level, you've got Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, who was funded by over $1 billion. So some of the contracts that we have in government, one way or the other, they seek to return the favor to whoever funded him. It is a basic, in fact, it's so basic that whoever funds you will have a significant influence of what you do.
Is it the issue of funding or the issue of skills that perhaps is letting down the municipalities?
Predominantly, it is the issue of political parties being in the pockets of the private companies, pockets of the individuals who want to influence the direction that the municipalities should take.
But the AG in his report is basically telling a very sad story in terms of people not qualified to run those municipalities. Obviously, the AG is a state company which is properly equipped in terms of dealing with the issues. They have not raised the issue of funding. I'm not disputing that. But from what I know from the AG is that the issue of skills, the issue of capacity are the main ones. But I hear you talking about funding. I'm a bit confused. Do you think if you were to win, let's say Johannesburg, come the 1st of November, so that municipality will simply run like an old machine, should it be ATM?
What we are saying as a problem of the funding of political parties is that it takes away the capacity of the leaders to actually lead in accordance to what the Act says when it comes to local government, what the law is saying. Now, that also includes the issues of capacity. Hence, I said earlier on, if you do not have proper functioning municipalities, then regardless whether you want to deal with the issue of capacity, the issue of revenue collection, you won't be able to win, because at the core of it, the municipalities are not properly working. Now, the influence, the major influence that is there in the functioning of the municipalities is that there are companies who know that when these municipalities are under the influence of these companies, the contracts, the operation of these municipalities will favor. That is why you're going to have, even if, for example, because the AG has been raising the issue of the capacity and the skills for the longest time, but you don't see real action because the powers that be in the municipalities themselves are not independent to act in the best interests of the people. That is why, as the ATM are saying, the people deserve capable leaders, but most importantly, who are not in the pocket of anyone, so that they are able to respond to the reports of the AG, reports of the public protector, and to the cries of the people, because they are not beholden on anyone.
Okay, I think I get your viewpoint. I think my first question, I said, why not ACDP? And I'm sure you did get an idea where I'm going with this. Why did you decide to to be set up as a political party?
The ATM was formed by the coming together of predominantly indigenous churches. These are the churches where they are most marginalized in our society, they are most undermined, they are not part of the SACC, they are not part of any arrangement with the government. Now, majority of these churches, they had a very good relationship with the ruling party. The ruling party used to come, campaign, get votes, but after the elections, there was no means and ways for these churches to actually work together and influence the direction in which the country is taking. So they decided to form a council of Messianic churches to represent the indigenous churches. After forming that council, they decided to have a political voice or a political wing. That is where the ATM was born. However, when the political wing or the party now was formed, there was a huge outcry from the citizens saying, we do not want another Christian party. We need a party that will represent everyone. However, on the godly element, because it speaks to the type and the character of the citizens we have, we need you as a party to retain the godly element.
Okay. When I listened to you carefully, so you were formed because the ruling party did not, in inverted commas, return the favor. You have just said now one of the difficulties is that those companies that fund people in municipalities, so then they control. So, but what you are saying is that after supporting the ANC, so then the ANC sort of ignored them, and then is this the formation out of anger that they are being ignored by the ANC?
No. It's not out of anger. It's out of having a relationship whereby you have a governing party that you ought to have a relationship with, but you have no influence. For example, the issue of having laws that allow a 12-year-old to have an abortion without the consent of the parent. The issues, the moral issues whereby these churches felt that because we've got a relationship with the ruling party, we should, as the churches, be able to influence the direction the country is taking, not anything that is material or financial.
How different that which you are saying is from being funded and someone who you're funding is expecting certain things from what you have just said? These are the people who are behind the ruling party, and then when the ruling party is in power, so is ignoring them because they can't have the influence. So how different is that which you have done from what you have said about municipality?
It is very different because these organizations are representing people. It is people in these organizations who did not have any political voice, who could not go to any other avenue to express themselves politically. That is why the churches had to play a role of influencing the governing party based on the needs, based on the cries of the members in their respective organization. This is so different from a company that will say, I'm giving you this R1 million. However, when you are in power, I need certain contracts, or I need to have significant influence in terms of the contracts or the tenders that are allocated at a local government level. Nothing to do with the needs of the people. Whereas the cries of the churches were, we are leading millions and millions of people who cry to us as the leaders of the churches on a number of issues. The least you can do as a governing party is to listen to us as to what are the issues that we as the leaders are bringing on behalf of the people. So the leadership of the churches were basically the mouthpiece representing their own members.
Are you confident that the members of the South African Council of Messianic Churches support your cause?
100% confident. In any, even if it's a home, you are going to have members who are going to have one way or the other different opinions, but at the majority of the members of these organizations, they are so much in support of the ATM.
If they do, why does it not translate in the electoral fortunes?
You know, in 2019, I'll make example of my own voting station, When I went to vote with colleagues because I was still working in a private company with family members, with people from around where I used to live. There were more than 20 of us. However, when the results came out from that one voting station, they said we only got 3 votes. So there is something that is not discussed in our country, which is the inefficiencies that are there in the IEC. We know of ballot papers being missing and everything like that. So the reason why I'm saying the elections of 2019 actually showed us that there is a problem with the IEC with regards to providing with their work, with the work that they ought to do when it comes to the voting process.
Are you saying the 2019 elections were rigged?
I'm saying that there were votes in the 2019 elections that we as a party felt that they did not make it to the system and they were not counted.
So that would be the rigging of the elections in favor of someone else?
It could be.
Is that what you are saying?
It could be. Hence you find that immediately after the elections, there's a lot of parties who even wanted to go to court because they were not satisfied with the outcomes. But because we as the ATM were a peace-driven organization, we sat down and we said, let's let bygones be bygones. Let's prepare for 2021 by making sure our party agents are there and we do the work when it comes to making sure that everything that happens in each and every voting station is above board.
Okay. Nationally, you are represented by 2 members, including yourself, and then you have 2 more in the Eastern Cape and KZN. From the voting population of 26 million, you garnered 76,000, thereabout. So, are you saying the millions and millions of people who would support your churches were somehow diverted elsewhere?
I'm saying the people that voted for the ATM, the votes were not counted the manner in which they should be, using that my own voting station as an example, and another voting station which is very close to me, where a friend of mine actually took a photo of the ballot paper when they're voting, and 3 days later sent me the result slip, and ATM got 0 votes there. So what I'm saying is not anything new. Because many parties in the past have always complained about the issue of the IEC, and it's something maybe that needs further interrogation when it comes to the IEC being efficient when it comes to doing its work.
So what is your main gripe with the IEC? Because if you look at, you go back to 1994 and then you look at the trend, at what has been transpiring, it's been more or less the same in terms of the outcome. So, and then you come in 2019, so you feel that outcome is somehow, there's something that's wrong that was done.
You'd expect that in 2019, for an organization that has been running elections since 1994, number one, you'd not have a case whereby the ink does not work. You'd not have a case whereby the zip machines are not working. So the efficiency should be above board because you've got an organization that has more than 25 years running elections. But the mistakes, whether deliberate or not deliberate, that we saw during that time has given us an impression that the IEC did not do their work in accordance to being efficient. And the fact that other political parties, not only us as a party, but other political parties also raise these issues. You are going to see now, I can guarantee you, after these elections, you are going to see ballot papers that are missing. You are ballot boxes that are thrown out in the streets. That is the reality of IEC. Now, the question that should be asked by people, an organization with over 25 years of experience, should those things be happening?
Okay, I guess you're saying all of this because you're banking on your membership, which is close to 7 million.
We are banking on South Africans who understand our mission and South Africans who have responded positively to the message that we've been sending out of a different type of a leadership, a God-fearing leadership, and most importantly, a solutions-driven organization.
Do you subscribe to the Constitution in totality, or is pick and choose?
We said as a party we respect the Constitution in principle because it is a current law that we have. There is no way we could be against the current Constitution. However, we've also said that we need the Constitution to be reviewed, number one, so that it is the will of the people, not the will of the people in 2021, not the will of whoever wrote it in 1995. So for us, it's just a matter of a principle to say the Constitution, it is a proper guiding document whereby any country, any organization needs to have that. But in this current form, in this, the Constitution for us as the ATM, we think that it needs a total, complete overhaul to make sure, for example, the traditional leaders are given a more tangible responsibility and role in terms of the governance of their own people. Unlike now where we see traditional leaders being relegated to bystanders in the governance of their own people.
Where does your party stand on capital punishment?
We believe as the ATM that when you are repeatedly killing people, you have proven beyond reasonable doubt that you do not want to coexist with other people, because it can't be that people now are going to be afraid for their lives because there is a known murderer that will kill for no reason. Even if they are inside prison, they are also going to be killed. So our position has been clear ever since we came into the political space that we are in total agreement with capital punishment.
So is that not supporting the state to kill people? Because one of the reasons capital punishment was abolished, is that you can't have the state actively kill people.
The reason why the death penalty was abolished, remember we had a death penalty that was only focused on the black majority. It was not done in the best interest of justice. It was not done in the interest of ensuring that justice is served. It was done in the interest of the selected or few minority. Now what we're saying as the ATM is that it cannot be that we are going to allow murderers given free will to kill people time and time again. If a person repeatedly kills people, then that is a reason enough for a person to be taken to the gallows and to be permanently removed from society.
So basically you support the state to kill people?
We are supporting the state to do whatever that is necessary to protect innocent civilians, innocent people from murderers. For example, in our country, we've got soldiers. The soldiers that are there, and you know with the soldier, immediately they use the gun to kill people, not to shoot a firing shot to warn people. But we have soldiers patrolling the borders. We've got soldiers sometimes being sent to crime-ridden areas like the Cape Flats in the Western Cape, because when the killing of innocent civilians, it is too much to bear. The state has to intervene and protect other citizens from such murderers.
On the issue of the current pandemic, I think you've expressed yourselves, and obviously no one is happy with what is happening, but somewhere along the lines, you appear to have maybe lent a bit of credence to some of the conspiracy theories. Are you able to clarify us where do you stand with the vaccination and the party?
As a party, we are saying the vaccines have always been there ever since scientists were able to develop vaccines.
Yes.
However, it is a choice of a person whether they want the vaccine or they do not want the vaccine. What we do not agree with the ATM is forced vaccination. It is vaccine passports. It is coercively making people to take vaccines by saying if they are not vaccinated, they cannot enter some spaces, because we believe that the Constitution protects the rights of people to decide. Therefore, the manner in which the vaccine process in the country is handled, it must protect the individuals in accordance to the Constitution.
You're talking about choice. Let's assume you are vaccinated and I'm not, and then I pose a danger to you. Is that acceptable?
The vaccine's duty is to protect you as a vaccinated person from another person that is not vaccinated.
But if, remember, you can still have, you can still contract the virus even if you are vaccinated. And remember, we're not the same in terms of the immune system. So don't you think everyone must at least be protected fully?
Yes, everyone must be protected. However, that protection cannot trample on the constitutional rights, the bodily integrity of people. If I, as a person, do not want the vaccine for whatever reason, it could be biological, it could be scientific, it could be religious, I must be protected by the very same constitution that protects you to have a choice whether you are, that protects you to be vaccinated.
Let's move on to something else. As the ATM, do you have a relationship with the former president, Jacob Zuma?
No, we do not have.
How do you then explain your head of policy, Mzwanele Manyi, as the spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation, the former president of the ANC?
Utata Mzwanele Manyi, remember that as a professional, he used to work as a spokesperson for cabinet. Therefore, when it comes to his profession, that is what is qualified, that is what he does best, which is to provide communication services. Now, you find that currently we have a lot of members, even in the senior leadership structures of the party, that are working in the mines, that are working in the ANC-led municipalities, but that on its own, a person rendering professional services cannot be misconstrued as if they are having a the party now is having a relationship with another person.
But have you heard the rumors that they once said the former president had a hand in its formation? Are you aware of those rumors?
Yes, you know, the party was formed, the first public meeting we had as a party, it was on the 7th of April in 2018.
Yes.
On the 8th of April in 2018, Sunday Times had already saying JZ's apostles are forming a party. Now, they went as far as saying, number one, I'm a Zuma loyalist, I'm a strong Zuma supporter, whereas this is the very first organization that I'm part of. Another publication went as far as calling me a former DA leader. So the point I'm trying to make to you is that there's so much that has been put out there in the media that is so false. However, the problem that we have in our country is that the media is given leeway to actually repeat their lies, and they are not actually made account to what.
No, it's fine. Here is where I'm going. I'm trying to say, given that you know about these rumors, that in fact even the suspended ANC Secretary General was once fingered to have been behind this, and then you have someone who is your head of policy speaking on behalf of the person who it was said was behind the party. Does that not lend credence to the rumor?
No. You know, there was a commission of inquiry done by the former Speaker of Parliament and ANC member, Ms. Frinjinwala, who I think they were supposed to work closely with Mr. Kgalema Motlanthe to look at the role or suspicions or accusation that former members of the ANC, including former President Zuma and Mr. H. Magashule, whether they were involved in the formation of the ATM. That report came out and said they were never involved. However, what we never saw from the media, it is now that report actually being spoken about and being clarified to the people that these were the rumors that were there. However, there was a commission of inquiry done, and this commission of inquiry that is done has cleared Mr. Magashule, has cleared Mr. Zuma, and has cleared ATM from being involved in the issues of the governing party.
You speak about your party being accountable and transparent. A few weeks ago, you had a very prominent individual, also a socialite, Khuli Roberts, who was your candidate. After a day or two, and then she was withdrawn, there was no explanation. What happened?
The issue with Ms. Khuli Roberts, it is something that is not unique, because many times you are going to have people that would want to be councillor candidates for the party. However, when consulting either with their families or colleagues or whatever, they decide maybe they need to pull out. So because we've never went and clarified why a certain member, for example, around Tshwane, who was initially a candidate but had to pull out, so we saw no reason why a confidential matter which Ms. Cooley Roberts is handling, that we as a party are going to come out in public and explain on her behalf, because for her it is a confidential matter. Just like any other candidates that we had but had to pull out, it was also confidential for them as well.
So if you look at the formation of the party as well, and the issues related to it, and you look at the chief apostle, is the reason why the party was formed because the unity project that I think Apostle Ndlovu wanted never happened between the ANC, PAC and IFP. So, and then you were not able to get what you wanted. So the reason you formed the party, is that the reason?
The reason why the party was formed way back from the 70s and the 60s, the church, particularly the indigenous churches, have always influenced the political work that was done in our country. And Apostle Ndlovu made no reservation about the coming together of these organizations, so that we have got one strong organization that would have enough power to amend the constitution and represent the people. Therefore, when it came, because the discussion about the formation of the party did not start in 2018. Recently, as early as 2012, the discussions were there, and up until in 2018, these churches got together and said, we can't talk about this anymore, we need to act.
Come November 1, then there are issue of coalitions. Who is it that you will simply not go into coalition with?
We do not have that kind of thinking as an ATM, because as a party, we are a party that is formed for the best interests of the people of our country. We have no one that we are saying we are going to exclude. However, we've got an alliance with the APC. That is a sure alliance, a coalition that we are going to have going to the councils after the 1st of November. Now, with the other parties, we are going to discuss all of those things after the elections.
So who's funding you?
We are funded by our members.
To run the campaign? To
run everything. It is, you know, if you look across the entire country, the posters that you see, there's no one supplier that made those posters and someone paid for us. It is members, the candidates themselves, members of these churches who popped out whatever money they have in order for us to have T-shirts, to have posters, to actually run our campaigns.
Would you accept donations from private individuals, companies to run your campaign? We
would discuss anyone who wants to donate to us. However, the strict condition that we have is that if you donate, you donate. You do not have any power or any reason to believe that we are going to return anything back to you. So if a person wants to come, would look at the conditions whereby they are saying, I like your stance on the death penalty, and because I also agree with the death penalty, I'm giving you money. But we as the ATM, we can say, if we decide not to continue with this policy of the death penalty, you must not want your money back, because we are not taking money so that you can influence us. We are taking money so that the organization can grow.
So if you would accept donations or being funded, how different will it be from what you said at the beginning, that the reason why municipalities don't work because they get funded by individuals or companies?
I've just put it out there that
I'm saying this because even those who get funded, it's not just on a blank check. They also have discussions. So how different are you? Clearly, from what you are saying, you will also do exactly what the others are doing.
Not at all, because for us, we're making it very clear that if you are donating to the party, you are just donating, it ends there. You will not have any position or any influence on the party, whereas with the others, they are given donations because they are signing deals. They are, you know, they
yeah, no, I think you've said that in terms of deals, and we don't have time. 10 seconds, which municipality would you have the biggest impact? 10 seconds.
We are going to have, in the municipalities in the Eastern Cape, in Limpopo, in Gauteng, all over the country, we are going to have a big impact. We're not eyeing one municipality, we're eyeing all municipalities that we are contesting, because we're not contesting to make up numbers, we're contesting to win all municipalities from Limpopo to Cape Town.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that was the leader of the ATM, Vuyolwethu Zungula, basically talking about the ATM and their intentions, and of course the general state of politics and how, as the party, they view everything around them. Francis and Tsepiso.
Thank you very much, Zwei, our political editor, Mzwandile Mbeje, in a conversation with the ATM leader. And join us same time, same place tomorrow for another conversation with the UDM leader, Bantu Holomisa.
Plenty more other political parties also get to